Welcome to the iRacing British Touring Car Championship. This is the season finale from Brands Hatch Grand Prix, round 28, coming at you live here on YouTube on BSR TV. With me in the commentary box, Chris Cohen, joined by Matt Dalton. Evening, Matt.
Evening, Chris. Evening, everybody.
It all comes down to this: 3 rounds. There can only be one champion, and it's sure is close at the top of the table, both in the team championship and the drivers.
Yes, that's correct.
Let's go and have a look at those standings then. But before we do, there are 5 drivers who could possibly take this Drivers' Championship this evening. Let's have a quick look at how they tally up, because the title race will come down to simply who is going to be top on points by the end of this particular 3-round event. Jamie Rushworth is there at the moment. You can see he's got a 22-point advantage over nearest rival Stefan Hug. Czepelewski's in 3rd, Brustrom is in 4th, and Adam Terry is there in 5th place. But if you look at the stats, it's not as clear-cut as you'd think, because although Rushworth has the most wins, Hug has been on the podium more times than anyone else in the top 5, and also had more top 10s. And the other thing is, I don't know if this will come into play this evening, Matt, but he's had fewer incidents than all of the others by quite a long way.
I think that will come into play this evening. I mean, Brands is a tricky track, and we've seen in previous years that championship deciders at this place can be decided in turn 1 if people get a little bit of misfortune. So that certainly is something that'll stand him in good stead. But of course, he's got a bigger problem at the moment in that his connection appears to have died, and he keeps disconnecting from the session. And if that's failing him, then it might not matter what sort of form he's in or how lucky he is.
Well, we'll keep you updated on that as the events unfold. We're about 7 minutes away from the grid here, so a little bit more on this particular issue, because Brustrom, Matt, has only had 1 win. I say only, it's still an achievement, but only had 1 win out of the last 27 rounds, and only been on the podium twice, which means that 25 rounds out of those 27, he's been 4th place or lower, yet he's still 4th overall in the championship. So really consistent results from Brustrom there.
Yeah, he's another one who's joined the series midway through recently, and consistency pays off, doesn't it? I mean, Ellis Stevens multiple champion by virtue of that very fact. So,
and that's what we've seen, isn't it, in the seasons that we've covered it. We started covering this series in season 2. Season 2 was won by Ellis Stevens, who wasn't the fastest driver in most of the rounds and just kept on plugging away, and pipped Adam Terry to the post in the final round. And season 3 is a bit of a different story with Katz, but I mean, he was really, last season was the Alan Prost of the touring cars, wasn't he?
Yeah, he missed the consistency and missed a sort of metronome in the way he was performing, wasn't he? But the tyre changes to the car and the model update that iRacing have done has it's really thrown him a curveball that he's struggled to get back with. He's still one of the top guys, but he's not where he would expect to be and where we'd expect to see him.
And indeed,
I should say as well, we've got Dan Blakers on standby if we were to do some commentary if he'd like us to.
Oh, that's very kind of Mr. Dan Blake. He's becoming somewhat of a BSR TV regular, which is all the better. So maybe we can bring him into this what do you call it? Commentary box is the word I'm looking for. But just before we do, the standings there, just really outlining what you were saying before. Andreas Katz is nowhere to be seen in that top 10. Rushworth has it for Movie Go Racing by 22 points from Stefan Hug. Czepelewski would love to win that title, but he needs to make up 51 points on the leader if he's to do so. Don't rule out Brustrom. We saw him finish so strongly in the Carrera Cup last night. All that footage is on YouTube, by the way. He came 3rd in the final race and was up there in the standings for the entire evening. Terry probably wants it more than anyone else, though, having missed out on that season 2 by just a tiny margin. Baker 6th, Blaine, another Movie Go Racing driver, in 7th, Plumley 8th, Stevens, 2-time champion, 9th, Field in 10th. And just while we have a look at the 11 to 20th place there, Who wants that more, Matt? Is it going to be Chepelevsky or Terry?
Cheppy, almost definitely. He's like he always reminds me a bit of a honey badger. He's an angry man when he gets in the mood. He's extremely determined. Adam seems to be. I know how much he wants it, but I don't think he's quite as committed in terms of the hours and things that he puts in practice as some of the others.
Well, in the team championship, then, 18 points separates the top two teams, and there's 60 points on offer for a win. 4 drivers in each team, and 3 races. So that's a huge tally of points, and it might as well not be a gap at all, Matt. 18 points.
It's not a huge gap, is it? And again, like we said, especially at this track where one incident on the first corner can lead to absolute carnage. Adam probably knows that as well, if not better than anyone, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to see. Because how important will it be to get off to a good start in this race for those top 5 in the first race out of 3?
Sorry?
How important is it going to be for these top 5 drivers to get off to a good start in the first race, given that they've got 2 more straight afterwards?
Perhaps not so much a good start is necessary, but certainly a clean one. I think the biggest thing with these top 5 guys, who they're the guys who are fighting for the championship, is that they cannot afford to throw it off the track. So it's going to be a little bit of a Mexican standoff, and somebody might choose to be aggressive. I would put money on Chepelevsky throwing the aggression out there. Jamie Rushworth or Stefan Hoog, maybe a bit less so.
Well, I think it's going to be very tight at the front. But Chepelevsky was the fastest man in qualifying. He set a qualifying time of 1:30.3, which is a phenomenal time. Hoog is about 1/10 of a second slower in second place, and Rushworth 3rd. Sutton managed to slip into 4th place on the grid, and Brewstrom is 5th. But what's most notable about this grid, Matt, probably, is that 3 of the 4 Movie Go Racing drivers are in the top 8, and that means that Adam Terry and Laura Bond, starting 9th and 12th on the grid for Bianco, are going to have to get past those Movie Go Racing drivers to outscore them.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of quiet confidence in the Bianco team, though, and chatting to him earlier, I know Laura Bond particularly likes this track and is happy with her race pace here, so I think it's this is one of the tracks that's perhaps harder on the tyres with these cars than most others, so...
Well, it's a track we've come to a lot over the course of the British Touring Car Championship, the iRacing British Touring Car Championship at least. We come here at the start of the season for Brands Hatch Indy, and at the end of the season for this particular round. And it's somewhat of a driver's favourite, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great mix of technical tight corners and also some really fast flowing ones, and there's some nice camber changes as well and elevation changes to throw into it, and it's just one of the classic tracks, really.
Yeah, that it is. And it's going to be difficult to get off the line here because of that notoriously tricky downhill right-hander at Paddock Hill. And the apex is very punishing, isn't it? It's quite raised. If you go over that too much because you're trying to avoid another car, it will throw you to the outside, and there's a big nasty gravel trap and then some big nasty barriers to watch out for. Well, we're almost ready to go racing here. We might be one stage closer to knowing who's going to be the iRacing Season 4 BTCC champion after this particular round, but who knows, this might just throw everything all up in the air again.
It could. I think you've probably got to say it's Jamie Rushworth to lose, but we've seen that happen, especially here.
Well, let's go down to the grid, because we're almost ready to get going here. It's going to be Chepelevsky on the left hand side, who hasn't made it to the grid just yet. Jamie Rushworth has made it to the grid, which is good to see. He's there in 3rd place. On the right hand side of the picture in the white Bianco car is Stefan Hoog, and behind him is Ash Sutton. He's going to throw a spanner in the works, isn't he?
She'll throw a few things into the works knowing Ash.
And
spanner would probably be a spanner the size of a Kia Optima.
On the right hand side there, in the car behind the gap, is Laura Bond with the pink mirrors. Very good qualifying for her, 12th place.
Yep, excellent. Laura Bond fan club out in full force.
And on the left hand side, third back is Cats. So what can Cats do from here? What can any of these drivers do from here? Round 28 is about to be underway. 12 laps around Brands Hatch, and Stelian Chepelevsky will lead the field away. Let's hope we don't have a repeat of the last time we were here, because everything went horribly wrong down into Paddock Hill Bend. Chepelevsky from Hoog, Rushworth second, third rather. Everyone's through. Oh, we've got a spinning car, a couple of spinning cars. One of the dyno jets has gone round. Everyone seems to have recovered from that okay though, so we seem to be alright from the start, but it's still Stelian Chepelevsky in the lead of this race, although Sutton slipped through into third.
Yep, Ash Sutton through and straight at Jamie Rushworth there, and again, this is what we were saying. Ashley probably hasn't got anything to lose, whereas the rest of these guys all have, so there's he knows that he can throw the car at them and he'll probably have to jump out of his way.
Rushworth down to fourth then, his teammate just behind him. Advantage to Stefan Hoog in the championship race. Sutton won't hold any punches when it comes to taking the lead of this race. If he can get... Oh, and he's right behind Hoog already as we come down into the Grand Prix section of the track here. Chepelevsky starting to edge away as Hoog's mirrors are now full of Ash Sutton's CQR Fusion machine. Yep. He was fast last time out, wasn't he?
I think I can explain that one as well. Chepelevsky's car is bouncing all over the place. It looks like he's having some connection issues, and his ping level has gone through there. Oh, there's a massive incident behind there.
Oh, who's that? That's Reggie? No, it's not. It's Brewstrom. Linus Brewstrom has gone off. No, he hasn't. Who's gone off? I can't work it out.
One of the...
Well, we're both stomped on that one, I think. Oh, and that's one of... Is that Scott Malcolm?
Dan Hunt and Scott Malcolm got together.
Let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay, because that's quite significant. Scott Malcolm needs to score as many points for his Bianco team as possible. Yeah, and just... Hunt just gets in the back.
Yeah, as ahead of that, it was Brostrom and Robert Fagg who got off together as well. I think Rob Fagg's been tagged by Andreas Katz there, and he's just been a passenger and has taken Linus Brewstrom out.
Well, let's go back and see if we can have another look at that one, because Brewstrom is dropping down the order as a result of that. Here's Brewstrom, and now watch the cars just in front. Yeah, just a little tag from Katz. That sends... now it's down at Sterling's, isn't it? Fagg's actually made contact with the barrier and then Brewstrom's car. And Malcolm and Brewstrom are not having the best races so far. Well, David Baker already not having a great race. He's down to 17th place. Chepelevsky's got some serious connection problems, but is maintaining that lead. Oh, and we've missed it, but Sutton is past Hoog. Sutton is on the charge, and might that be that Hoog just let him through? Didn't want to risk the collision?
He would almost definitely. The big thing there for me is that with Brewstrom out, that actually removes the rear gunner that Jamie Rushworth had running for him.
Well, Brewstrom's not out as per se, we should clarify. He's now running 16th, yep, but out of the top 10 at least.
That's correct, yeah. He is still going, he's still limping around.
So it's Chepelevsky with the lead of this race as we head down into the Druids for lap 3. Sutton is second, Hoog third, Rushworth fourth. Katz has got up to 5th place. Terry, who didn't qualify that well and didn't have all the time in the world for qualifying, has made up 3 places into 6th. McCarran, though, is running 7th. A great performance from McCarran so far. And Jake Tucker as well is out there on the track. He is in 10th place. He's a privateer actually, but we know he's quick.
I think we've lost Laura Bond and Steve Hefford as well.
Oh, we have. They're in the pits for some reason. Let's see if we can go back on the replay and quickly find out what might have happened to Laura Bond. Well, there's a big huddle of cars going through there. And this is down at coming into Sheen's 1 lap ago on the replay. Oh, just collected by the number 22 there, and that is, wow. Hefford. Just collects the back of Bond's car, and if she ever wanted to be an astronaut, this is probably the closest she's going to get, because the iRacing physics have let her down once again.
Yep, she certainly caught some altitude there, didn't she? She's unfortunately she came down like a challenger, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, difficult that one. I think, if anything, you possibly have to say that Steve Hefford maybe was again a bit optimistic trying to stick the car out the outside there, and
but Hefford will realise, won't he, that every driver in that Bianco team really counts.
Yeah, he's not going to win any fans with that, is he?
So Bond down to 34th. Scott Malcolm's earlier incident puts him down in 28th. Advantage Movie Go Racing at this stage, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. The Bianco boys, although saying that, Adam Terry's running still quite well. He's sat quite happily behind Andreas Katz, so there's useful points for the Bianco boys as well.
Well, Chepelevsky's connection is still all over the place, but when he's not got cars in and around him, he's not going to cause too much of a problem. But Sutton's going to be wondering, if he's blinking in and out of existence, whether he should make that challenge.
Sutton's not going to worry about whether he should or shouldn't make a challenge. You know he's going to, if he even gets remotely a chance of it. Good battle a bit further back as well, with Smolensky, Blaine, Ellis, Stevens and Russell Lader having a good little scrap. Oh, Ash Sutton's made a mistake and gone off there. I think, actually, Chepelevsky's made a mistake. He's picked up a corner slowdown, I think. That's put him back to P4.
Well, it says P4, but he's still... he's gone off the circuit, and yeah. Well, I think the connection issues are playing havoc with the overlays, but it is P4. Beg your pardon. And well, that's handed the lead of the race to... well, I was going to say Sutton, but Hoog has got back past Sutton, so has Sutton made a mistake as well?
Yeah, Ash Sutton definitely made a mistake. He got a little bit wide and a little bit wild, but yeah, the same point just ahead, Chepelevsky picked up a slowdown. I think Smolensky's turned Ellis Stevens around a bit further back as well.
Well, Stevens is dropping down the order. Let's go back and see if we can have another look at that one. Yeah, I think we need to go back a little bit further on the footage to get hold of that one. So it's Smolensky behind Stevens, and he's side by side with Russell Laidler on your screen. That's the red and black CQR machine. Now, is that 3 wide? Oh, they're side by side going at the end of Hawthorne's there. And it's another case of just tapping out the back of the car, almost like a pit manoeuvre there on the back of Stevens' car, and absolutely, he's a passenger from then on. Nothing he can do about that, and that's put him into the barriers and out of contention in this particular race. But Smolensky's have to be careful. He's not exactly innocent party when it comes to these kind of races.
No, and that's the classic Matt Neal touring car poke, isn't it?
Well, down the inside,
Ash Sutton, meanwhile, yep.
Ash Sutton takes the lead back from Hoog, and these boys want to watch out because there's only 1 point difference in both team and driver championship for winning the race. So at some point Hoog's got to say, hasn't he, that it might just be better just to stay behind Sutton as long as I'm not too pressured by Jamie Rushworth.
How many points behind Rushworth is Hoog in the championship?
Hoog is currently 22 points down, so in 3 races he needs to make up 8 points a race.
Yeah, you'd see, these guys are all a little bit more gentlemanly. You'd think probably the best stratagem for Stefan Hoog would be to drop back behind Jamie and maybe give him a little bit of a poke at some point.
Well, now
gentlemanly, of course.
Here's Richardson going 2 wide with Robin Smith, and that's Rob Fagg, a recovering Rob Fagg. Oh, and Smith has taken Richardson out! That's exactly the same manoeuvre that we saw last lap with Smolensky. Oh, it just seems to be the recipe of the evening to pit manoeuvre your opponent into the wall there. I need to go back and have another look at that one on the replay, I think, but Richardson's moving over to the right there. Well, Smith is moving to the left as well. So there was room for the MovieGo driver. Always difficult ones to call those, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah, racing incident, possibly. Sit on the fence a little bit on that one.
And that's the second.
Brewstrom's made a mistake, he's gone round.
Let's see if
he's
we
got
can go
some
over
damage
to
as well by the look of it. Left rear. If that's still from earlier, but
it's a replay of Brewstrom just coming round, coming through Sheens now, and yeah, runs wide. Unusual to see the rear end of the car slide out like that, Matt, on a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, but it's just about touching the grass, isn't it?
Well, he's actually managed to control it quite well.
Yeah, I think he's carrying some left rear damage from earlier on as well.
That could be a huge factor. So Ashley Sutton leads this race after a mistake from Chepelevsky, and Sutton has managed to find his way around Stefan Hug. Jamie Rushworth is in 4th place, which means at the moment he will lose out on 2 points in the championship to his main rival, Stefan Hug. But Stefan Hug is going to need a further 20 points if he's going to win the championship, so it's still advantage Rushworth at the moment, and advantage Movie Go probably, judging by the positions of these cars on the track.
Yeah, you got to think that Jamie's just going to drive smart here. He's not going to push anything. He's just going to sit where he is.
Just going over to the YouTube comments at a moment. Graham is in the YouTube comments. Says, "Thanks for the broadcast, gents. It's very much appreciated." So that's nice, isn't it? Nice to know we're wanted.
I wouldn't go that far.
Nice to know I'm wanted. I don't know about you.
What are you trying to say?
Let's go back. No, nothing at all. Let's go back. Go quickly back to the racing.
Chepelevsky's made another mistake. That's allowed Jamie Rushworth back up to 3rd.
So Rushworth now 1 point behind Hug, as we're 2/3 of the... Oh, a little tap from Chepelevsky on the back of Rushworth's car. That might well have been net code though, as Chepelevsky's connection's not looking great. Meanwhile, Terry down the inside of Katz as we come down into... Well, where are we on the circuit? Just after Druids, in fact. We're coming down to Surtees now. Terry will be desperate to get some more points for that Bianco team though, won't he?
Yep. He effectively is team leader at the minute, isn't he, behind Stefan Hug, but behind him the Movie Go boys not scoring that well behind him, so Reggie Blaine's their first guy next along in 10th,
so we've got a 3rd, a 10th, a 16th and a 15th at the minute for Movie Go.
Yep.
And we've got a 2nd, 6th, 22nd and 29th for Bianco, so not doing quite as well, and they will fall behind if things stay as they are, but who knows. Katz is under a lot of pressure from Adam Terry, and this is completely different to last season, wasn't it? Terry was fast, but Katz was dominant, and to see the German under so much pressure from this Bianco driver is quite something else.
Yeah, it's what we were saying, isn't it? We're not used to seeing Katz in that position, but it's just been the story of his season, really.
Seems like everything's settled down at the front now, because Sutton has got Hug behind him, but Hug's making no attempt to get past that CQR Fusion machine. Rushworth has dropped back a little bit. You can see him in the background of the picture there, and Chepelevsky's still following Rushworth. Chepelevsky will want that 3rd place back though, although he's not been error-free, has he? It's rare to see a mistake from the Bulgarian, but he's not been exactly error-free this evening so far.
Nope. Chepelevsky just not quite... It's frustrating for him, isn't it? You know he's going to be spitting balls in that, because he practices all through the week, he works hard on his setups, he puts time and effort into trying to get that car as quick as possible, so he's not going to be overly happy with P4. And of course Stefan Hug in 2nd is going to be wanting him to make a move as well. I don't think Hug is going to settle for 2nd here.
Well, Rushworth is dropping back from the lead pair, that much is for sure. Although Hug is getting very close to the back of Ash Sutton's CQR machine. So there might be a challenge on here from Stefan Hug. Doesn't look like he's quite got the legs to do it down into Paddock Hill Bend as we approach the 3 laps to go.
You know Ashley is going to make that the widest key you've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very rare that we see defensive driving from Sutton, just because he tends to be a lot faster than other drivers and doesn't really need to defend. So you can see his lines there, he's just focusing on the quickest way round the circuit, not the best way of keeping Hug behind him, because the natural defence to Hug's attacks is just go faster, and that seems to be the only thing that goes through Sutton's mind most of the time. Well, Terry now right on the tail of Katz. He's got 3 laps to get by, well about 2.5 now because we're coming down the Hawthorne straight here. He's got the draft. Can he get the job done this time? Well, Katz just slides that eBay Motors machine a little bit more than you might like to think is comfortable, but holds on to it and keeps Terry behind him still. What's Terry got to do to get past here? And hopefully we haven't lost Matt Dalton this close to the end of the race, but we will carry on, no doubt.
Just having a small coughing fit.
Yeah, the excitement's got to you.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit. I didn't think everybody would want to hear that, so.
No, you're giving me one now. But it is.
Sorry.
It is a absolutely thrilling finish to this race, building up now because Terry is doing everything he can to get past Sutton. Meanwhile, up at the front, Hoog is battling with I should have said Katz there, and the Hoog is battling with Sutton. Rushworth is past Chepalewski, but for how long? Because Chepalewski wants that place back before the end of this race. Not long to go now. 2 more races to follow though, but these drivers really need to score as many points as they can from this particular round. Otherwise, they're giving up points, valuable points, to the other championship contenders. And if things stay as they are, Hoog will only make up 1 point on Rushworth, Matt, and he's going to need to do more than that. There's not a lot more he can do, really.
No. He's going to have a go, though, isn't he? He's not going to settle for that position. No, Stefan Hoog is not going to settle for P2. He knows that he needs more points from Rushworth, so the only option he's got is to be aggressive.
Well, this is a view back from Sutton's car at P2, Stefan Hoog. And I was so excited in the commentary box I was dropping things all over the floor, so apologies for that. And one of the back markers there gets out of the way. Well done, Danny Lawrence. Coming on to the final lap now. Sutton's pace is, well, it's pretty incredible really. I mean, 1:30.9 is an incredible lap really. I mean, not a lot of drivers have gone faster than that.
No, on old tyres, that's very impressive. It's not working though, is it?
Well, nothing seems to be able to shake the Swiss driver from the back of Ash Sutton's car, but it won't matter if he can hold him behind him for 1 more lap. Katz Terry, meanwhile, Terry has now dropped off the back of Andreas Katz, perhaps due to a slight mistake there, so it looks like 6 places on the cards for Adam Terry. That will do no harm whatsoever for the Bianco team, although Laura Bond has made up back up to 27th place after that contact with Steve Hefford earlier on. Scott Malcolm is 23rd, just coming over the stripe now. Brewstrom and Smith are still 15th and 16th, so we might have to do a little bit of mental arithmetic. You up for that?
No.
How did I know you'd say that?
Yeah, me and maths are not good friends. I don't think Stefan Hoog got enough here. I think Sutton's got it in the bag. Unless he can get a run on him into the last corner, onto the last straight, but I just don't see he's close enough.
No challenge from Hoog, so he will go over the line in 2nd place. Another win goes to Ash Sutton in round 28, the first of 3 rounds here at Brands Hatch. Sutton wins, Hoog 2nd, Rushworth 3rd, Chepalewski comes home in 4th place, and there is the German Andreas Katz coming home for eBay Motors in 5th, with Adam Terry a full 2 seconds behind by the end of the race. Richard Wilde having a few connection problems of his own, but maintains 7th. Tucker 8th, great result for him. Nick McCarron 9th, and Sutton's teammate Russell Laidler finishes 10th. Crucially, Reggie Blaine, Movie Go Racing, finishes 11th. Brewstrom will come home 15th and Smith 16th, so all 4 drivers in the top 16 there, and the same can't be said for Bianco. That could be critical.
Yeah, it's a big blow, right? And it's bad luck as well. I mean, Laura Bond was, innocent party in her particular accident. Didn't see what happened to Scott Malcolm, but...
Well, there's the results after 12 laps on your screen. Full points once again go to Sutton. And Sutton could well be on the cards to take more victories than any other driver this season. It's just that he hasn't participated in a full season, what with his real life motor racing career and other commitments. But would have been interesting to see where he might have come had he participated more fully. It might well be his battle that he would be fighting. At the moment he's not in the championship race, he's way down the order in the Drivers' Championship. The 2 Bianco drivers there in the top 6, although Rushworth managed to score a 3rd place, so the gap now at the top in the Drivers' Championship is 21 points. 21 points for Stefan Hug to make up before the end of this this evening's racing. We have 2 more races to go as well.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening without something. Somebody needs to get into Jamie Rushworth's face. They need Adam Terry, you know, is Stefan Hug's teammate in that Bianco car. In the next race, he needs to get in front of Jamie Rushworth and be all over the track. He needs to block him. He needs to block the living daylights out of him, because otherwise he's not going to win. I don't see that gap being made up on pace alone, because Rushworth is just too quick and is too consistent.
It might just not be that kind of series, though. That's a full possibility, isn't it? It might just not be the, you know, winning at all costs might not be the ethics.
If it's a team sport, which it is, for the team, for Bianco to have a chance at winning their championship and for Stefan Hug to have a chance at winning the overall championship, that's what you got to do. That's racing.
Well,
it'll not necessarily be unfair. I'm not suggesting bump him off the road or anything like that, but they can get in front of him and make that one very, very wide Kia Optima and hold him up.
We'll have to see, I suppose. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the team player is going to come into effect. But that $100 prize is on the line for the winning team this time out.
But when you add that extra 0 in front of that team championship next year, I'll put decent money on it that it's going to happen then.
Well, Season 5, we can talk about that a little bit in the 2 races to come perhaps as well, because there's lots of news about that, but we've got Season 4 to wrap up first. And those results on your screen are still showing 0 points for positions 21 to 30. So apologies for that. I thought we'd fixed that one last week, but the Gremlins have got in there again. That was a thrilling start, wasn't it? Couldn't ask for a lot more action than that without having to lose a lot of drivers, Matt.
Yep, no, that was, apart from a few incidents, was by and large pretty clean, so, yep, good start. Onwards and upwards.
Exactly. The
Carnageometer has barely started to tick over.
Well, you've got it going, at least. It started to warm up, so you never know.
We'll show it something nasty in the break and we'll see if we can warm it up for race 2.
Rounds 29 and 30 are coming your way very shortly. Round 29 due to get underway at 9:30 UK time. So if you're watching on YouTube, just advance to the next video in the series and we will see you in just a moment.